Oh,
Thank you so much.
Got it. Didn't welcome the Vaishnava Sangha, Prabhu. If it's okay with you, we'll just welcome the
Please,
Vaishnava
Mataji.
Sangha here. Yeah. Madhu Prabhu, Bhavana Mataji, Hare Krishna, welcome to you. And Rama Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, and Ananya, Vedant.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol Beta. So when we hear that voice, Prabhu, then we are good to go for today. So
Okay.
that's Ananya's, yes.
Ananya Chantayantu Mam Hejanaha Par Upasate Tesam Yuktana Yoga Chemam Yaham.
Yes.
Wow, nice.
Yes, that's Ananya. And we will get ready with the other sloka with Vedant very soon, Mataji. We hear him in the background.
Yes, Mataji, sure.
At least one line of the sloka. Yeah.
Sure, Mataji.
And yes, Hariveni Prabhu, Padma Priya Mataji, Hare Krishna, welcome to you. And Praveen Prabhu and Josna Mataji, Hare Krishna, welcome to you.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hari. And Pranav Prabhu, Niti Mataji, Hare Krishna, welcome.
Hare
to
Krishna,
you.
Mataji.
Hari. And Hema Mataji, Sita Mataji, Hare Krishna, welcome to you. Nitai Gunamani Prabhu, Josna Devi Mataji, Hari, welcome to you.
Hare Krishna.
And Adidev Prabhu, Hare Krishna, welcome to you again.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Padidana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So, I don't know anything, but Mataji invited me, thinking that I know something, I can share something. I'll just try to repeat what I heard from gurus and sadhus, and hopefully it will be benefit for everyone, especially my own purification. So Mataji said to talk about the initial stages of bhakti. So I want to speak like something from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. So before that, I want to offer pranams to Shri Rupa Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. So let's start with who is Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami is our Sampradaya Acharya. He is our main line, like main Acharya in our line, from whom the entire teachings are flowing. Entire teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is flowing, especially Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Rupa Goswami was born in Bengal, and he was born in Saraswat Brahmin family, and he has brother Sanatan Goswami as well. So since childhood, they were very much well versed in Sanskrit and grammar, Bangla language, and logic and everything. So they were so intelligent that that Nawab Hussain Shah ruler, he recruited them in his court because they were so intelligent. He didn't trust his other fellow brothers, but he had complete trust on Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So he gave them this position in administration. He made them personal secretary, and he trusted them very much, Nawab Hussain Shah. And they had unlimited wealth, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and they were completely learned and everything. But deep inside, they know that they have better things to do, and they were waiting for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's blessings. So one fine day, they had darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramkeli. So Nityananda Prabhu brought them to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramkeli, and Mahaprabhu gave them blessings that don't waste your time in material activities. You have bigger things to do. You have a big task of saving the world and writing the Bhakti scriptures and excavating all the holy places, identifying them, and helping everyone. So they got the blessings there, and eventually they went back to their homes, and they were thinking how to come out of this so-called society of the job and all with this Nawab Hussain Shah. So they devised some plan, and finally they got out of that. and they relocated to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu told them to go to Vrindavan and write Bhakti scriptures and establish all the holy sites, pastimes of Radha Krishna, where they did all the leelas and everything. So he wrote unlimited books, and few of them is like Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. Our Srila Prabhupada has translated that, and it was widely distributed. And that book has, from the very basic to the topmost goal a person can achieve, the highest goal. Like from the first verse talks about how to control senses, and the last verse talks about how to serve Radha Krishna at Govardhan and Radha Kund. So it has 11 verses, but it is complete. So he compiled that Upadeshamrita, then he compiled Padyavali, all the nice verses written by various Vaishnava saints. Then he also wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then Laghu Bhagavatamrita, and Lalita Madhava, Vidanta Madhava. We can read that in Chaitanya Charitamrita as well, how he wrote all those things. So the main book is, and Ujjwala Nilamani, that's a penultimate book. Then, so Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it talks about, Rupa Goswami completely explains from the very basic, like what is from ABCs to the highest. Everything is covered in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we will talk from that. I have a slide which is prepared by some devotee, and it's very nice. I will share that. Let me share my screen here. If you have any questions, you can stop and ask in between. So. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So we have the Rupa Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis. So this PPT doesn't have proper fonts, so please bear with me. And we are called Rupa Anugas because we follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. And he's a main acharya in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parampara. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he arrived 500 years ago, he established a sampradaya, which was never before. So he established sampradaya. For that, he has named 6 Goswamis. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you put it in presentation mode so that it's larger in the screen?
How to do that presentation mode?
So it's either you could go on from the menu slideshow, or in the bottom, if you see it's like a cup, you just click on that icon next to the 75%. At the bottom of the screen, right on the right hand side, where it says 75%. No, where it says 75%, before 75%. Yeah, just before 70. Yeah, click on that one.
Okay. Can you see now?
It hasn't magnified yet. Thought it's loading. In your screen, is it amplified? Because right now I still see the same thing.
Yeah, it is amplified.
Okay, then maybe it's a syncing on my side. So please go ahead.
Everybody can see the full screen, right?
Yeah.
No.
No problem. Even we see the normal screen.
Probably you could go for on the top menu slideshow and then present. Prabhu. Why is it not presenting?
Present for current slide would work, I think.
That's what I did actually.
If it's not happening, that's okay, Prabhu.
Okay.
Something.
Yes.
Generally, when you either hit the cup or it should work.
Prabhu, I think you clicked on the text box. You need to come out of the history.
I can't hear you.
Oh. Okay. Okay, Prabhu. I think you can increase that 75% to 100% and we can proceed.
Yeah.
Prabhu, you went little higher, Prabhu. Maybe just keep it to 100%.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
So
Or probably they would like to see the whole screen together, I guess. So maybe a little lower. Is that possible, Prabhu? So the whole screen. They want to have that Nayananandam, the whole screen in one eye. But that's what everybody is waiting for. From the heading to the
So
whole
I'm-
thing.
when I did the presentation mode, you can't see the full screen, Mataji?
Yeah, this is good enough, Prabhu. Please carry on therefore.
Okay. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago, so his main aim was to establish the Sampradaya and start the Nam Sankirtan, and also mainly to give the path of Raga, to Ragmarg to general people, because it was never given before. The Ragmarg, Raganuga Bhakti was never given before. So that was the main intention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So and also to taste the Premaras Niryasa Korite Aswadana, Ragmar Loke Korite Pracharana. So Mahaprabhu came to taste the Premaras Niryasa, the essence of Premaras, and Ragmar Loke Korite Pracharana. And he want to distribute the Ragmar to general population. So with that mission, Rupa Goswami understands the Mahaprabhu's Manobhishtam. So based on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to Vrindavan and he compiled this book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So the purpose of this book is to make each one of us Goswami. Okay, each one of us Goswami. Now we are all Godasas because we run behind, how to satisfy the senses. So the purpose of this book is to make us Goswami, how to control the senses. And the second point is to explain what is Bhakti Rasa and what is material Rasa. So now our mind is completely drenched with material Rasa, and we see material Rasa, and our mind basically either takes shelter in material Rasa or Bhakti Rasa. So being in this world, in Maya, we enjoy material Rasa, like whether it is like kind of gossip or music or songs or material relationships, those kind of things. So mind is attached to the sense gratification. So Rupa Goswami will explain what is Bhakti Rasa and how Bhakti Rasa will actually free our mind and actually attain our real Swarupa. So he'll explain Bhakti Rasa and what is material Rasa. And it also explains practical hints to live in material world by devotional service, like how to conduct in material life through devotional service. Okay, and the book also talks about the prema in 5 different rasa, relationship in 5 different rasas. 5 different rasas are Shanta Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Rasa. Okay, and the book also explains about the love of Nitya Siddhas, how their love is, what is the nature of their love. And it also explains about how to nurture our devotional service in day-to-day life, for sadhakas. So that is the purpose of this book. Then here it's an example of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We'll just come to
So the context is, Prabhu, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the journey of Bhakti is explained, and we are getting to the start of that journey where it starts with the Shraddha, right? And the effects of Bhakti. Is that what the context is now?
Yes, Matish, I want to explain what is Bhakti. Actually, this class, I want to explain what is Bhakti and what are the characteristics of Bhakti. in that, different stages of bhakti, what happens, like in Sadhana Bhakti, what happens, in Bhava Bhakti, what happens, and in Prema Bhakti, what happens. So this is the very first chapter of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Then we go into the stages, which Vishnu Chakravarti has explained about more in more detail, but we have that in a one words, Adho Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. So we have that. It comes after this. So first it explains what is bhakti.
Yeah.
It is Anya Abhlashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam Anukulena Krishnanushilanam Bhakti Uttamam. So bhakti means basically to connect to Krishna, to be devoted to Krishna. So that is bhakti. Anya Abhlash, and what is pure bhakti? What is Uttama Bhakti means? Anya Abhilashita Sunyam means not have any other material desires. And Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam. It should not be tinged with Jnana. It should not be tinged with Karma. Anavritam. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. And very favorably and following in the footsteps of previous Mahajana, serve Krishna. That is Uttama Bhakti. Okay. So that is called bhakti, and we'll go to the next slide. What is the characteristics of bhakti? So when we say pure devotional service, it is not something that someone attains the pure devotional service later, when he's in bhava or prema. Pure devotional service can start from Shraddha itself. The nature of pure devotional service is that you don't add karma, jnana, or anything else to your bhakti. Means when you do bhakti, you do it purely to serve Krishna. And that can start from the very first stage, which is Shraddha. So Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, you can say. Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti can start from any moment. You can start from this moment as well. If you don't expect anything in return from Krishna, like from material desires or mukti or jnana or labha, puja, pratishta, if you don't want anything in return from doing your service to Krishna, then it becomes pure devotional service. You can do it from day one. You can do it from this moment onwards. So when we do the pure devotional service, pure sadhana bhakti, without expecting anything in return from Krishna, we experience few things. Okay, and the primary thing is obviously when we're doing service. Okay, and the secondary thing is we don't expect, we're not expecting anything from Krishna said. We won't expect even five kinds of liberation: Sarupya, Salokya, Shastri, and all. And the further characteristics of the pure devotional service is, first point is we get relief from material distress. Klesha Agni is very important point. So when we do the pure devotional service, when we don't expect anything, the first thing that happens for a sadhaka, for a practicing devotee, is Klesha Agni. Like when he hears a Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita for the very first time, very submissively, suddenly the devotee feels relief that, I've been suffering in the material world for so long. I've been piled up with so much distress, and I don't know who I am, and it's very confusing. What is my purpose of life, and what happens after death, and what is this illusion, Maya? So when he hears from a pure devotee or from devotee, from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, he gets instant relief from material distress. Many might have experienced this in the very beginning of stage. Like when you come to Krishna consciousness and you hear Katha from a devotee, the first thing that happens with Shraddha, of course, with Shraddha, relief from material distress happens, Klesha Agni. So we'll come to that more detail, how the Kleshas are destroyed. And second thing that happens when it starts from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha and Bhajana Kriya. When he starts practicing Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, all subhada, all auspiciousness happen to that person. Everything. Auspiciousness means happiness. he gets bliss, the real bliss. Unartha everything happens here. Antanivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti. So till that point, these two things can be experienced by a practitioner, sadhaka. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anattanivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti. So till Ashakti, it is in our hands. It is in the hands of sadhaka. Means it is from us. The effort is from our side. Okay, and that's why it's called Sadhana Bhakti, because it is we should be nishtha, determined. It is we have to develop the ruchi for Krishna Katha and Krishna Nam, and also we should have asakti. Asakti means attachment. We should be attached to Krishna. So this is part of Sadhana Bhakti. So when we do Sadhana Bhakti, till asakti, we can experience complete relief from material distress and all auspiciousness will be there. Okay. Then when we move to Rati, Bhava, when we attain Bhava Bhakti, what happens is Moksha Lagutakrit. So we come to the point of we don't want moksha. So any kind of 5 kinds of liberation, we don't want that. So that feeling comes. Now we may have this kind of feeling that I want moksha. Sometimes we may get feeling, but because of too much material pain, we may think like that. But at the Bhava Bhakti, they just kicked it off. Moksha Lagutakrit. They don't want liberation. And it is also Sudurlabha. It is very difficult to attain. Why it is difficult to attain? Because here the sadhaka, when he attains Bhava Bhakti, he doesn't attain on his own. He needs Krishna's mercy. He needs pure devotees' mercy, reciprocation, to pull him from Vyavaharik Jagat to Paramarthik Jagat. Vyavaharik Jagat means this physical world. They pull us from this physical world to the spiritual world. And for that, we need their help. We need their help. Without their help, we cannot attain. That's why it's called difficult to achieve. And once they pull us, Krishna is completely become subservient to the devotee. That's why it's difficult to achieve, and it's Krishna doesn't give it so easily. Usually, pure devotee gives that. Krishna doesn't give personally so easily. So you can get it from pure devotee. So this, and when you get it, it is Moksha Lagutakrit, and it is Sudurlabha. It is very rare, and you are very fortunate that you got it. Okay, so that is Bhava Bhakti. So the final stage is Prema Bhakti, and in Prema Bhakti, the devotee feels intense transcendental bliss. Sandrananda Visheshatma. He knows his spiritual identity. He knows his spiritual body, and he serves Krishna, Radha Krishna, in that spiritual body, and he experiences intense transcendental bliss, the rasa, vibhava, anubhava, sanchari bhavas, and basically sthai bhava is established, and all other bhavas are combined and forms rasa. And when in that state, Sri Krishna gets attracted to the devotee, and Sri Krishna gives association to that devotee. He gives service to that devotee, and that is the samam bonam of journey of a devotee. So starting with Sadhana Bhakti, when you hear the class from the very first time from a devotee, you get relief from the material distress to the point where you get association of Krishna, personal association of Krishna, and you serve Krishna, and Krishna is with you. You are with Krishna, and you are playing with him in Vrindavan. So that is a journey. So till Subhada, Asakti, and Rati Bhava is 3rd and 4th. Prema Bhakti is 5 and 6. So this is the characteristic of Bhakti. This is how the flow of devotional service happens for a sadhaka. This is a journey of self-discovery or self-realization. So here, when we actually Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, when we attain at this number 2 stage, when we attain the Ruchi and Asakti, there itself, we get something called Siddha Deha. So it is nothing but, it is like when sun is rising, you don't see the sun, but you see the light, right? It's like in the morning sun, you see the light. In the same way, the sadhaka gets the glimpses of his Siddha Deha, his spiritual body. He has not realized it yet, but he knows that what is coming up. He knows. And if sadhaka is very careful and does his bhajan in that mood, then eventually he is pulled by pure devotee and Krishna to Bhav Bhakti. In Bhav Bhakti, the Swarup Siddhi occurs. Swarup Siddhi means he attains his Swarup. He completely knows who he is actually in reality. He is not Indian, he's not American, he's not male or not female, he's not body. He knows that what he is, his spiritual body, he is a eternal servant of Krishna, and how his body looks, spiritual body, he realizes that in Bhava. And in Prema Bhakti, he attains it. Vastu Siddhi. He attains it. Vastu Siddhi means the Vastu, means the goal. Siddhi, the goal is attained. In Prema Bhakti, that spiritual body is attained, it manifests. And with that spiritual body, he serves Krishna and Vrindavan. So that is the journey. So from day one, when we hear the class for the first time, till we meet Krishna in Vrindavan and be with him forever. So it is simple for the simple, and it is complicated for the complicated. The only thing is our mindset and how serious and sincere we are in this journey. So let's go with all this, in detail for all these 6 characteristics of bhakti. This is pure devotional service. So just remember that it can be started from day 1, which is Anya Abhilashita Sunyam. If you don't expect anything from Krishna, but want to serve Krishna with love and devotion, from day 1, you can do pure devotional service. Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. Let's go to next slide. So Klesha Agni. How bhakti does the Klesha Agni? Klesha means distress. Distress is not something, we are new to it. We are experiencing it from time immemorial. We know how it is. And Agni means it burns it. Bhakti burns the kleshas. So how it burns? So let's come to what klesha is actually. What klesha is. Let's come to that. Let's discuss that. So Jiva is from Anadikal, from time immemorial, he is in material world. There is no time where he was not in material world. So he is covered with ignorance, avidya, and he doesn't know anything else. He's in darkness. And whatever body he attains, he accepts that body as himself or herself, and helplessly behaves based on that body. In Gita, it's mentioned that, just like the subtle body carries just like air carries aroma of the flower, in the same way, subtle body carries all the samskaras and creates the body. And because of the samskaras and the body, the individual thinks that he is the body, and he helplessly acts in that. So that is completely out of ignorance. But he is not the body. He is the soul. He doesn't know that. That knowledge is covered, ignorance. So when you don't know something, you need a teacher to give that knowledge. So that is Sadguru. That is a Vaishnava Guru. He comes and removes that ignorance. So the cause of suffering is ignorance, avidya. Okay. So that causes us to that creates sinful desires. Ignorance will create sinful desires. It's nothing but material enjoyment. Sinful desire is nothing but material enjoyment. And when the desire occurs, we want to act on that. It is called papa, sinful activities. Okay. And when we act on the sin, you will not get reaction right away. It creates a prarabdha, unmanifest reaction. It is there. It is stored in your samskara, in your chitta. So let's come to this. What we see, we have a chitta consciousness. In that, all samskaras are stored. When we do some activity, a photography of that activity is stored in our chitta. It is there, and that will create a prarabdha. It is in subtle body. Then it is here. It is kutam. So that will, kutam is sinful disposition. This aprarabdha will feed the kutam, and the kutam will push us to. It will create more desires, and the desires push us to do more sin. It's like a cycle. You can see the cycle in avidya, and we have sinful desires because of avidya. Then you do papas. Then the papas are stored in your chitta, and that will create kutam, means it will push you to have more desires, and it will push you to do more sins. It's like very dangerous cycle here. That's why we have been living here since time immemorial, going through 8.4 million species, different bodies, from aquatics to mammals, and different species. We're taking different bodies. So in this cycle, we experience prarabdha. The unmanifest reaction will manifest, and when the prarabdha happens, we get klesha. That's where suffering happens. We suffered because of our past activities. At the same time, if we enjoy also because of our past activity. If we do something good activity, we'll enjoy. But papa and punya are different sides of the same coin. Like in a coin we have heads and tails, right? So papa is on heads. I can say punya is on tails. It's still all material activities. It will bind you to this world. So that's why Rupa Goswami has categorized everything as papa. Anything material is categorized as papa only, good or bad. Papa or punya, you just put everything in one under one umbrella here. Okay. So what bhakti will do? So when we hear from a devotee about Krishna consciousness, Padpradashak Guru, from a Guru or Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru or any Vaishnava Sadhu, when we hear, we get relief. How we get relief? Because this gets destroyed here. Avidya gets hurt. Right now, for non-Avaishnavas, Avidya is very strong, is very healthy. Avidya. The moment we hear from pure devotees, what happens is their sound is not coming from this material world. It's called Shabda Brahma. It is coming from spiritual world. So it is like giving medicine, like it's a diseased body and you pour medicine into the mouth. It is like that. So the Shabda Brahma will come and enter into our ears. It will destroy, it will hurt avidya. Avidya gets hurt. When avidya gets hurt, sinful desires become weak. And when sinful desires become weak, we don't want to engage in sinful activities. Everybody can experience this. Everybody on this call can experience this, that, this is what is happening. And what happens when we stop sinful activities? There is no aprarabdha. Aprarabdha becomes weak. Kutam becomes weak. And it doesn't have anything to feed to bijam again. Okay. So in this way, the cycle becomes weaker and weaker. The more avidya is destroyed, the more we hear Shabda Brahma, avidya gets destroyed. Even it gets hurt, like when you are fighting with the enemy and you're charging at him, it becomes weaker and weaker. In the same way, avidya becomes weaker and weaker, and this whole cycle becomes weak, complete weak. And it becomes weak, what happens is prarabdha, whatever is manifesting becomes weak, and suffering becomes, pretty much very dull. It is not active. So the suffering of a devotee will drastically reduce, compared to a Vaishnava. Now a Vaishnava suffers more, though it's not seen externally, but the mind and the body, and what will happen in future, so many things, and they may not get human body in next birth. So many things happen. So the bhakti will eventually what it will roast the bijam. It will completely roast it. It will burn avidya. It will roast all the sinful desires. It will. So when bijas are roasted, it will not create any. It will not germinate. It will not create any papas. And devotee will stop doing. Eventually stop doing all the papas. There may be some residues, but he knows that he has a goal. He is going in the right direction. It takes time. It's like you're driving on a highway 670 miles per hour. Suddenly, you have to turn. So when you turn, you cannot just slam on the brakes, right? You have to slow down. You have to take an exit and you turn back again, right? So that process takes time. For some it may take 1 year, for some it may take 10 years, for some it may take 20 years, or for some it may take one lifetime. It depends on how serious he is in his sadhana and bhajana. So in this way, this gets destroyed. Every devotee, for every devotee, he will be saved from kleshas. The timeline, it differs. As I said, it may be 1 year for some, it may be one lifetime for some, but it will happen. It is like Jiva Goswami explained that when you making a garland and you put through the needles. When you put through needles, you take bunch of flower petals and you start piercing. So the first flower petal to last flower petal, there's a time. It's the bhakti is destroying the sins. By the time it reaches the last petal, it takes some time, right? So that's how it is. So it may be quicker for some, it may take some time for some. So that's how, but eventually kleshas are destroyed. Okay, so we'll go to next slide. So this is the first thing that happens for a devotee. Kleshas are destroyed, and these kleshas are destroyed, and this is stage of Unattainability actually. When we talk about Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Unattainability, these are not like one after the other steps. These are simultaneously happens. It's like if you create a graph or you put a chart, like Shraddha, if you attend Shraddha, say 20%, then Sadhu Sangha, you attain maybe 10%. Another Nivritti is destroyed 5%. Nishtha, you attain 1%. And Ruchi, 0.001%. So, and then Shraddha may increase to 80%. And Sadhu Sangha will increase to say 70%. Another Nivritti is destroyed 50%. It happens cumulatively. It's not like you attain full Shraddha, you're done with Shraddha 100%, then you go to Sadhu Sangha, then you complete 100%. It's not like, you go to the school and finish the grade. It's not like first grade, second grade, third grade. Everything grows at the same time at a different proportion. So someone may have still a lot of anarthas, but he may be still in Nishtha stage. In Nishtha would be like 90%, but he may still have some anarthas. It's not like when you are at Nishtha, anarthas are gone. Even when you are at Asakti, anarthas are not gone actually. Even at Bhava also anarthas are not gone. Only at the stage of Prema, anarthas become zero. At Bhava, anarthas is very minute, very traces are there at Bhava stage. At Asakti also, you have substantial anarthas are there. So anarthas are all throughout, it's there. Till you attain Vastu Siddhi, anarthas are there. So for an example, I can give you in 10th canto, when Krishna places flute to invite all the gopis in the dead of night, some gopis were not able to come out of their homes. They were not able to go and have darshan of Krishna. But some gopis were able to easily go. And some gopis, they have to leave their body and go in spiritual body. So three things are happening. One, some gopis went as in their own body because they're already spiritual. Some gopis, they had some, they left their body actually, and they went in spiritual body. And the third category, they were not able to go. And because of the separation, it burned even the last residue of material, any material attachment. And they attained complete Vastu Siddhi, and they were able to go to Krishna. It is explained as is given example. It is there, how, at what stage it can happen. So in this way, we'll go to next slide. Any questions here on this slide? Anybody have any questions here?
Yeah, I think this is wonderful, Prabhu. Maybe we can give some room for question and answers. Yeah. And unless you want to go to the next one, however you like to.
Yeah, just want to be clear that you don't finish one stage and go to the next stage. It's all parallelly happens, everything happens parallelly. Okay? And at the stage of prema, Shraddha is so condensed, so thick that it's basically what Shraddha means. Shraddha means one-pointed, focused, completely focused. So at the prema level, Shraddha becomes completely one-point focused to the lotus feet of Krishna. 1 point, single point, nothing else. I don't say anything else. The Shraddha becomes so strong. And that actually gives rise to prema. That's thick Shraddha, bhava and prema. So anybody have any questions, please? In this Kleshagni? Is everybody following? Anybody's? I'm just just continuously saying. Just want to make sure that everybody is following.
Yeah, this is good, Prabhu. The next slide, is it related to this same topic?
No, Mati, the next slide is different one.
That would be.
This is talks about how to destroy this.
Each one.
Examples here. So in Bhagavatam, it's given example here. Like for Prarabdha, Srimad Bhagavatam is an example here, Bhagavad Gita. So I don't want to go deep into this, otherwise we're not able to cover all. So let's go to Shubhada. Shubhada means when devotee comes to this stage, when he experiences, and once all the kleshas are gone, he experiences happiness. That is Shubhada. So as suffering decreases, the Shubhada increases. So Shubhada, you can experience at the stage of Nishtha. So it's a Nishtha. So it's still in Sadhana Bhakti level. So Shubhada is, so one who is a Nishtha one, they will experience so much peace and happiness, inner bliss. So a lot of anarthas are dried up at this point. But there's still anarthas, plenty of anarthas are there, but a lot of anarthas means like gross sins are gone. At the stage of Nishtha, gross sins are gone, but subtle sins are there, subtle sins. And there could be anarthas because of want of some labha, puja and pratishtha, like, those kind of anarthas they are still there, very strong at stage of Nishtha as well. So the sadhaka should be very careful that just because he's not doing gross sins, he doesn't fall into subtle sins. So, but at this point, he experienced so much happiness, so much bliss, that he wants to serve others. He He thinks about others' benefits because he is very happy. He's not experiencing any sinful reactions, gross sinful reactions, and he is very blissful, he or she, and he wants to benefit others. So he wants to benefit and he serve others. By serving others, he attracts everyone. He also developed saintly qualities, okay? And in this way, they attain Subhada. ultimate bliss. And this Subhada is not same as a material enjoyment. This Subhada is something different. It is induced by bhakti. And bhakti is independent. Bhakti is not created by a sadhaka. She manifests on her own by seeing, by seeing the sadhana or interest of a sadhaka. She manifests on her own will, sweet will. It is not created by someone. She comes and she takes residence in our heart and help us. So in this bliss, when we get this bliss, we don't care for sense enjoyment anymore. We give up all kinds of sense enjoyment. We don't like to go to movies or listen to some movie songs. When you are at Nishta, you get so much happiness inside that you don't need any happiness from external source, and you don't think about any mystic yoga or logic, and you don't think about liberation and all. You are focused on pure devotional service. You are Nishtha, you're experiencing the bliss. Yeah. So that is Shubhada. That is second point. So this it is fully attained at the stage of Asakti. In Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, the stage of Asakti, Kleshagni is gone and all auspiciousness is there. Okay. And we have in this slide, we have some examples are there. I'll share this slide with everyone. You can refer this by going to all these different references here. And if you have any questions, you can ask me as well later. So we'll go to third. So here, when now devotee enters into Bhava Bhakti. Bhava Bhakti. So what is Bhava Bhakti? Bhava Bhakti is nothing but, so till Asakti, sadhaka is trying, is crying, he is attempting, he is seriously, sincerely putting his effort. But the beauty of bhakti is that even in sadhana you enjoy it, you relish it. So that is the beauty of bhakti. Susukam kartaham. So it is very joyful. Even sadhana bhakti is very joyful. So Bhava Bhakti is a ray of prema. The ray of prema comes from spiritual world. What is that ray of prema? It's a mix of Aladini Shakti and Samvit Shakti. Aladini Shakti deity is Radharani, Samvit Shakti deity is Krishna. So Radha, Krishna, they are the deities. That Shakti comes and enters into the heart of devotee. Then a stream of bhavas arises. First thing that happens is Sthai Bhava becomes very strong. Sthai Bhava actually, we get the glimpse of Sthai Bhava at the stage of Ruchi. Once a person is very stable, he gets Ruchi, he gets the glimpse of Sthai Bhava. That is nothing but Siddha Deha. Okay, so at this point, he gets Swarup Siddhi. He clearly can see his spiritual body, clearly. And when he is clearly, and in that spiritual body is experiencing a stream of bhava, in his service to Radha and Krishna. So at this spiritual bliss, he doesn't care for moksha. Moksha will come and stand at the doorstep, and he doesn't even care for that. Moksha becomes a maid servant. How I may serve you? I want to serve you. But devotee will not care for moksha, because moksha is like a small drop in an ocean of bhakti rasa. It's not even drop, actually. You cannot even compare it. So one who is in bhava bhakti, they just kick out this moksha. And the four religious principles are like straw in a street here. Like dharma, artha, kama, moksha, as talking about. They treat it as like a straw in a street, like grass. And the whole world will look like it's like a water in a impression of cow's hooves. Like this whole material existence looks like becomes so small, like a cow's hoof print. Actually, calf's hoof print. that they can easily cross over. They can easily cross over. Okay, so at this point, sadhaka knows he's not sadhaka anymore. It's a bhavuka. He's not called sadhaka anymore. He's a bhavuka because he has bhav bhakti. So the bhavuka, this stage is very rare to attain because here it says we cannot attain by our own efforts. So till asakti, it's mainly our own efforts. But in bhava rati, it has to come from Krishna or pure devotee. So how it is attained? It is attained by mercy of spiritual master. Krishna is reluctant to give it. Because why Krishna is reluctant to give it? Because Krishna, whoever becomes bhavuka, Krishna comes under their control. And Krishna has to fulfill whatever he desires. And there are many instances like that. For example, Narad Muni, everybody knows Damodar pastime, right? So Narad Muni, when curses Nala Kuvara and Manigriva, they become trees in the courtyard of Nanda Baba in Gokul. Okay, so then Narad Muni gives curse. That is fine, but Krishna, does it really Krishna wants to liberate them? Does Krishna wants to give prema to them? Krishna doesn't even know them, that they exist and they have done that, because Krishna doesn't care for the demigods, Nalakuvar and Manigriva. Because he is so happy and joyful in Vrindavan. He's playing with monkeys, he is getting chastised by Yashoda Maya, he's waiting for his Gopsakas to come and rescue him when he's tied up. But when he's tied up, he's trying to release himself and go to his friends and play with them. But he sees that these two trees are there, and he remembers that his pure devotee, Narad Muni, has cursed them and have to deliver these two people. He doesn't have any personal interest to deliver Nalakuvar and Manigriva. His interest is only in fulfilling the promise of pure devotee, who is Shri Narad Muni. So, because he's in touch with pure devotion, he's not in touch with Maya. So, he will not access who are in Maya. Only pure devotees will give mercy to the people who are in Maya. So to fulfill the promise of Narad Muni, he smashes those trees and they come out. And when they come out, the demigods, they see this beautiful boy, and obviously they know that it's Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they offered prayers. But was Krishna really interested in those prayers? He was hearing in with one ear, but other side, he want to go to his friends. He want to play with his gopas. He want to play with monkeys. He want to see Yashoda Maya. That was his main interest, because he is Bhaktavatsala. He wants to be in the heart of devotees. He want to be with devotees. He doesn't have anything to do with non-devotees, because for non-devotees, they are under the agent of Mahamaya, Vaishnavi Durga Devi. So she takes care of them. She is in touch with them. So he doesn't need to be in touch with them, because his representative, Durga Devi, is in touch with them. He doesn't need to get in touch with them personally. But when a pure devotee recommends, Krishna gets in touch with them. So that is the the glory of a pure devotee. So if we are in good books of pure devotee, Krishna will come in touch with us personally. He will come to us, our home. He'll knock the door and he'll come to us. If we don't get that mercy, then Mahamaya is always anyways in touch with us. So we don't need to worry about that. She's always with us. But she's also very merciful mother. She very painfully satisfies our material desires, but she doesn't want to. She wants us to go to Krishna. But because of our avidya, we demand so many desires from her. And she provides us as a mother, thinking that eventually he will turn towards pure devotee and ultimately go to Krishna. So in Bhavuka, they experience Moksha Laghutakrit and Sudurlabha, Bhav Bhakti, Rati, stage of Rati. And from here, from Bhavuka, you become premi bhakta very easily in just like a short distance, from kitchen to bedroom. It's like that. It's not very far away. From bhava bhakti to prema bhakti, it's not a big journey at all. It's just a matter of finishing up the mission assigned by Krishna, and then the body get destroyed, and they eventually get the vastu siddhi. So at this stage, the devotee attains his body, spiritual body, completely. He is tadatma. His soul and his spiritual body becomes non-different. Completely realizes it. And at this point, he experienced Sandarananda Visheshatma. He experienced intense transcendental bliss serving Krishna, Radha Krishna. And this attracts Sri Krishna. And with that service, Lord is satisfied, and he is satisfied with the devotee as well. And at this point, it is mentioned here that when he attains spiritual body in Vrindavan, he is under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. And when someone is under the shelter of Srimati Radharani, Krishna gets attracted to that person, because Krishna gets attracted to Radharani. So someone who is taken shelter of Radharani, Krishna shows a lot of interest in them as well. So that's why it's called Sri Krishna Akarshini. When one attains their spiritual body in the service of Srimati Radharani, it attracts Krishna automatically. Okay. And here, so we have come to the last slide here. See Radharani here. She's the greatest devotee who attracts Krishna in his Sri Radharani. She is known as Madan Mohan Mohini. She is the Adhisthatri Devi of devotional service. All the devotees in Vrindavan put themselves under her care to achieve perfection. Even Gita says the great souls are under Daivi Prakritim Ashrita. So the Daivi Prakritim Ashrita is nothing but Srimati Radharani. Daivi Prakriti, not the material Prakriti, Daivi Prakriti, Krishna's Prakriti is Srimati Radharani. So all great souls are under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. And whoever is under the shelter of Srimati Radharani, Krishna gets attracted to them very easily. So this is a journey of a devotee from the day one to the ultimate goal, from Kleshatni to Sri Krishna Akarshini. So this is where we are. So yeah, I also want to explain that, bhakti, one more thing. The main thing of bhakti is, nature of bhakti is also empathy. So how we attain all these bodies, Siddha Deha, Swarup Siddhi and Vastu Siddhi, how we attain it, how that manifest? That manifest through empathy. Empathy means to understand others' feelings and do the needful. So Vaishnava, when he becomes empathy with Radha Krishna, when he becomes empathy with, when he empathizes with Vaishnavas, when he empathizes with Avaishnavas, that's where he attains Siddha Deha, Swarup Siddhi and Vastu Siddhi. So what does it mean to empathize with Radha Krishna? Empathize with Radha Krishna is nothing but your Nam Bhajan, Nam Ruchi. Okay? And empathize with Vaishnava is nothing but Vaishnava Seva. And empathizing with Avaishnavas is compassion, Jivdaya. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that bhakti can be practically shown through empathy. So you have empathy for Radha Krishna through Namruchi, and then to Vaishnava Seva, and Jivdaya. So we have to always hold these three as a measuring points. Am I, as a goal, as a goals. Am I achieving my goals? Am I walking towards these three things? Namruchi, Vaishnava Seva, and Jivdaya. And this empathy will actually gradually take us to Siddha Deha, Swarup Siddhi, and Vastu Siddhi. So empathy is very important. In fact, Srimad Bhagavatam starts with empathy. What empathy? And the stages of Naimisharanya, they ask, Saunaka Rishi asks Sutta Maharshi that how can all these conditioned soul attain Shreyas, benefit, ultimate benefit, ultimate benefit. It's empathy for jivas, jivdaya. Then it starts again, Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasa Muni, he is unhappy. Then Narad Muni, spiritual master, comes, he empathizes with Vyasadeva. You're unhappy because you have not written about Lord. And throughout Bhagavatam, if you see the prayers of all the great devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, all the amazing prayers, they're all empathy, feeling, showing the feelings. And if we empathize with our acharyas, if we empathize with those prayers, we very quickly come on we walk on Ragmarg. Ragmarg means we have to empathize with our predecessors, our acharyas, Radha Krishna. As I said, acharyas is Vaishnava Seva, Radha Krishna is Namruchi, and jivas with compassion. So if we follow these three things nicely, don't make it complicated. We just follow these three things. Eventually, we will be on Ragmarg, and we will attain the goal. So bhakti is all about empathizing, and it's not following rituals or rules and regulations without empathizing. So that empathizing thing is very important. So try to cultivate these three things through empathy, and eventually we will reach our goal. So yeah, I want to conclude here. So anybody have any questions or comments or reflections? Mataji, Prabhuji, any questions from the slide?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one doubt. So in Bhava Bhakti, you said water in impression of cows hooves. Prahlad Maharaj, there, can you please explain a little bit more?
Oh yeah, this one Prahlad Maharaj says it's a quote in it's a words in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he mentions that whoever takes devotional service, for them the material world becomes so small. It is small as small as a calf's hoof print. Like when a calf walks in a muddy water, it makes a small hoof print, right?
Yeah.
So the material world becomes that small, and you can easily cross over. Just one small step. Don't have any problem in crossing over that small hoof print, right? So Bhavukas, for them to go to spiritual world, they're already there. For them it's not a big thing. It becomes so small that they can easily step over it and enter spiritual world. Yeah, that's why I said, it's like Bhava Bhakti to Prema Bhakti is like from your kitchen to dining room. They are very close. You just cross over very easily. It's very small. Material world becomes very small. For them, they can easily cross over. And this verse is spoken by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very nice class. Thank you. The slides were also very nice. I just had one question, Prabhu. You mentioned about sins, like subtle sins and gross sins. Can you please give some examples of what exactly are gross sins and what are subtle sins?
So gross sins is nothing but which we do with our body, right? Gross. And subtle sins are when we insult someone or when we cause some mental distress to other people, when we hurt them mentally, and those kind of subtle sins are there. And also demanding respect, demanding attention from others, or not treating your subordinates properly. They're all subtle subtle level, subtle sins. Gross sins is like meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. They are gross sins.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. And also, I had one reflection. I really like the empathy point that you mentioned. And you said, like, in the end, like, bhakti is all about empathizing and don't make it complicated, and just like the 3 steps that we need to be careful about. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, we should always remember these 3 things. Bhaktivinoda Thakur very mercifully put them in 3 points: Nam Ruchi, Vaishnava Seva, and Jiv Daya. You can think a lot on how to attain this. It is it's an individual effort. Everybody's journey is different. How you want to do Vaishnava Seva, how you want to do Jiva Daya, how you want to do Nam Ruchi. It is you have to customize it, following in footsteps of our acharyas.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. So, anybody have any question, comments? So, yeah, after this, later in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami talks about 9 stages of devotional service, Adavashadha, Sadhu, Sangha, and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur elaborates it in Madhurya Kadamini very nicely. He very beautifully explains how much anarthas are destroyed, how much sins are destroyed at each stage. Very beautifully explained. It's very scientific as well. If you have that Madhurya Kadamini book, you can read that. It's very nice book. But I can show, I have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu book. I can show you that. Hold on. I'll stop the slide. Yeah. So these are the book. This is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It has 2 volumes. Rupa Goswami. It's translated by Manu Swami. So it has commentary by Jiva Goswami and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So it's an amazing book. And Prabhupada, because of time crunch, he gave us summary of that act of devotion. But in that, he says that we should study this very scientifically, very thoroughly. We have to study this. He mentions in the book, after studying NOD, you buy this book and study very systematically. This order of Srila Prabhupada in NOD book. So, Mataji, I had to pause here.
That was very nice, Prabhu. Very nice. I was just looking to see if devotees have any questions. Let them ask and you answer. Yeah, that's why I'm staying aside, just so all of you can interact.
It was too much information, a lot of information.
It was nice, Prabhu. It was nice. My plan was to go through the 2 each, until Asakti, the Sudurla, Kleshagni and Shubhada first, and then the other 2 leaves and the last. But now it looks like I can just move on to the next topic in Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't have to go through each stages.
But what we discuss is just to inspire us to ultimately read the books,
Right.
by our Goswamis.
And I just wanted to add something, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Nama Ruchi, Jiva Daya, and Vaishnava Seva. Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorepa Sahishnana, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Yeah. We know how difficult it is to do Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorepa Sahishnana. Be tolerant like that all the time. Humble like that. Just let everybody stamp on us and zero respect. Be giving all the time. That's not an easy job. And we cannot fake it. We cannot even fake it until we make it. So hard, so hard. So I really liked one thing. I have heard it many times. that we have to be this, we have to be that, and this and that. And then you can chant Harinam, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Yeah, I have heard that. But there's one explanation I have heard which made much more sense to me is that speaker, when he was saying, it's not easy to be tolerant like that. Naturally tolerant, naturally humble, naturally all giving all the time is not easy unless you do the Harinam and tolerate, unless you do the Harinam Seva attentively and, just attention is not enough. We should be able to really serve Harinam. And that's when all the ingredients that we need to be Trinadapi, Sunichena, all those, that happens as we try to serve Harinam. So as we are trying to serve Harinam like that, then it is naturally Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tarore Pasaishnuga, they start to happen without not too much of effort. So it's more like to do this, we have to do that, and to do that, we have to do this. I guess whatever we can do at that point of time, it just try to do all those 4 things so we can do the Harinam better. But since it is not so easy, really, the Harinam Seva should be done like a worship, very attentively, with faith and enthusiasm. Then it becomes natural to be Trinadapi Sunichena. So that point I really liked, Prabhu. And the other one was Nam Ruchi Jivadaya Vaishnava Seva. Jivadaya, to have compassion at all levels and to be giving to others. Naturally, again, not a little bit, now and then when we remember. So to naturally be having that Jivadaya and to naturally be wanting to serve the Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions in Harinam Chintamani that when we do the Nam Bhajan, when the Nam Ruchi increases, then these 2 elements of Vaishnava Seva and Jivadaya, they automatically happen. The reason I am bringing this points up, we tend to treat Nam Bhajan as one among many. But Nam Bhajan is the fountainhead.
Right.
So that's why I think I am emphasizing that point, because Harinam Chintamani emphasizes this again and again. Harinam cannot be included as one of the means to achieve the goal. It is the means. It is the means
It's
just
sadhana
coming down. Yeah, coming as it is the goal coming down as means. So that's why the scriptures, they glorify Harinam so much. Because if Harinam is taken with such faith and enthusiasm under the direction of the Acharyas, then, Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. Kalena Nati Dirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. How can Bhagavan Vishate Hridi in Kalena Nati Dirgena? And that's because of, Bhagavan is in the Harinam. And if the Harinam is received as exactly prescribed by the Acharyas, they are guaranteeing, they're saying, it doesn't take too long. That's what the Acharyas are saying.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I just wanted to bring that emphasis on how Harinam is the fountainhead. And if we mold our life and our dealings in a way that we can do the Harinam better, then everything else will naturally fall in place. Just wanted to share.
I want to add, Mataji, that Harinam is nourished by Harikatha.
Right. Yeah.
When we, Harinam is sadhana and sadhya. Then when we hear Katha from pure devotees, when Shabdama enters in our heart, then Harinam becomes, when we get taste in holy name.
Right. Yes.
So I heard from one sadhu that Harinam is Krishna himself and Hari is Srimati Radharani.
Srimati Radharani. Yeah, that's so true,
So,
Prabhu. Unless we hear the glories of the Harinam,
yeah,
which is Katha, how would you have more faith and attraction for the Harinam? So without
exactly.
Radharani, yes, Prabhu. Glory.
Because
Yeah,
Krishna Swarupa is Nam. So when we hear Katha, and Krishna Swarupa is Katha. So when we hear Katha, we get attracted to his Nam, Roop, and Gun.
right, right. Yes,
Because for love, you need to know the qualities. You know,
right,
love doesn't happen with the in a blackboard or
right.
so, so you need to know a person's name and form and qualities and his pastimes, what he does.
Right.
You hear from Shabda Brahma. You get from Shabda Brahma, from pure devotee.
Right.
Shabda Brahma usually comes when you sit in front of pure devotee. It doesn't come through Zoom.
Mhm.
It doesn't come through recorded stuff. It comes when you sit in front of them and the words entering into the ears. That is the real benefit. But there are sadhus, so wherever sadhus are there, we have to go and sit in front of them and hear from them. But still Zoom is better. Something there.
Yeah.
But if sadhu is there, it's better to go and sit in front of him, because the Shabda Brahma comes from his heart. And through Zoom and all, it is Vyakaran Shabda. It's like sound of vocals.
Right.
The sound of vocals.
Vaikhari, yeah.
Vaikhari, yeah.
Yeah.
Vaikhari. So Shabda Brahma comes from when you sit in front of them. So Harikatha is very important for Nam Ruchi.
Oh yeah, definitely, Prabhu. Yeah, definitely. That too from the realized souls.
Tolerating things and all, you said, right? That if we take shelter of Bhagavad Gita, then that can be done. Like Krishna says personally, he's our friend. He says that you should be equipoised in heat and cold, praise and insult. So tolerance is nothing but, we should not be elated when we are praised, and we should not be depressed when someone insults us or abuses us, whatever, criticizes us. So we have to take shelter of Bhagavad Gita for that. Otherwise, it's very difficult.
Right.
Bhagavad Gita versus our shelter.
Yeah. 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 No big difference between Harinam, Hari Katha. True. Yeah. But I want to give opportunity to others speak. That's why I was quiet. Since nobody was talking, I'm just saying, please go ahead.
I don't know, everyone got bored of my.
No, that was really good, Prabhu. That was really good.
I want to thank the devotee who made the slides. I don't make the slides.
That is Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's course. Those slides on next.
Really?
Yes, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's.
Nice. Thank you.
In the Bhakti Shastri course, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I just got it from my wife. So
yeah. So we'll give 2 more minutes for anybody else. Anything to ask or say, then maybe.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you very much.
Very good.
thank you, Harivan Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. It was really nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Looks like this is a very deep subject for me. Next level, but yeah, I'm slowly trying to sink in the information I got today, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Adidev Prabhu has prepared you for the whole journey, Praveen Prabhu.
Our lives looks like our lives.
Yeah, because we need a we need a roadmap. When we start journey, we need a roadmap, and when we have the goal clear, then we can start making steps. Sadhya should be very clear, actually, what we want to be. Otherwise, without sadhya, if sadhya is not clear, sadhana will eventually become soft. It will become loose. So sadhya should be very clear. Sadhya is Krishna Prem, following in the footsteps of Brajvasis. So that should be very clear. Rest things will fall in place. This is called, the Piche Suduchara. Even when we are clear in our goal, sometimes, always, even if you follow and get up, Krishna will still consider us. He will still help us. If we forget the goal and we're just falling and falling, then he will become least interested in us. So,
Yes,
And
Prabhu.
Adidev, oh, sorry, somebody, go ahead, please.
No, Mataji, it was
no.
me. Yeah.
No, Praveen Prabhu, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it was like a roadmap as given, and we have a lot of literature references, looks like. So
You're good for the lifetime.
yeah, Prabhu, you study the Srila Prabhupada books, then you study Rupa Goswami's books, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Brihad Bhagavatamrita, very detailedly. It's a lot of juice in that, actually. You will actually relish a lot.
I'm still at NOI, NOD level, Prabhu.
No, NOD also has a lot of things, but it's the summary study. So Prabhupada, because of time crunch, he has given only that much, but he has recommended us, he has actually ordered us to study them very deeply in the same book. That's why Bhanu Maharaj, for past 50 years, he lives in Chennai. He has translated almost 100 books. 100 books is translated.
Oh.
All Tattva Sandarbhas and all Goswami's books, all like amazing, because there's order given by Srila Prabhupada to him. Because eventually the devotees in ISKCON will need all these things. And also the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav courses are being, very rapidly, they're being spread, they're given everywhere in the world. So Prabhupada wants this. Everyone wants to be, strong in the Siddhanta, in Tattva. Then Sadhya and Sadhana will be very joyful.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again, Adidev Prabhu, for your time, for your sharing, for the katha.
Thank you, Mataji. And everything I just repeated what I heard, Mataji. Nothing is coming from me, because I'm just an instrument. And
right.
Rasagna Mataji, that you gave this platform to. It's my first time I'm ever doing like this. Usually I'm a very shy guy. I just sit in the corner and read my books.
This is a start for you, Prabhu. As I said, when we need to hear more from somebody who is not always speaking, then you are there for us. So when I want to hear, and when I did a lot of talking, then I would please ask you. Yes, Prabhu.
There's Prasadam Mataji after this.
Oh, Prasadam virtual, yes, Prabhu. Virtual. And we can turn off the cameras, turn off the mic, and turn off the computer also.
It's like, not having Shabda Brahma in Zoom and not Prasadam in Zoom is same thing. Because I will also Shabda Brahma only.
All right, Prabhu. Thank you.
You're just joking, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Vancha
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Yeah, as you open your eyes, please go to the kitchen. Everything will be manifested.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare.